Hello and welcome to EBAday 2020. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly calling into our FinextraTV virtual studio now is Thomas Egner, Secretary General of the Euro Banking Association. So welcome, Thomas. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thanks, Hannah. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. It's good to see you again. So I want to kick off this interview by talking about some of the EBA highlights we've seen this quarter. Very exciting, not just because EBA Day has been moved to November. So could you tell us what have you delivered for your members and also the wider industry? Let's start there.
Before answering your question, Hannah, I first want to thank you all of our members who not only drive and shape our agenda, but also contribute to all of our working groups. And I must say, despite the pandemic, we have had a very successful summer this year. Lots of our working groups met obviously online, but they have been all very productive, and many reports will be issued before the end of this year. Let me start with the first stream we are operating, regulatory guidance and market practice. Here we have published the first edition of our Cyber e-repository, looking at current standards, industry standards, but also regulations in the field of cyber regulation. Second, we're currently looking at the topic of request to pay, and we have started a market survey, a pan-European market survey, looking at the needs and the expectations of corporate customers with regard to request to pay. And we have received approximately 100 answers from 17 countries, and I think that's a very good result. We will have, by the way, a side session at the occasion of EBAday, where we will present the first results of this survey. And our Smart 2 stream is currently looking at the topic of fraud in two directions. Number one, we have issued a paper on a conditional field, on an optional field, with regard to contextual information in SCT Inst. And the second direction we're currently looking at, and this paper is also about to be published soon, is on potential misuse of prepaid gift cards. In our second topical stream, our Liquidity Management Working Group has just published a report on the use of data analytics in liquidity management. The Open Banking Working Group has published earlier this year a report on the use of digital trust. And also, we're currently investigating and researching the topic of stablecoins. And last but not least, we are also looking together with our partner McKinsey into the area of pan-European transaction banking and the future of banks in this regard. This also will be covered by a side session at the occasion of EBAday, and of course welcome you all to participate.
So a lot there to take in and a lot for your members and stakeholders to discover around EBAday. So what I'm really excited to hear about next is what's in the pipeline for 2021.
Most of the topics we're looking at are long-running topics. Take, for example, the topic of fraud. Here we will continue to investigate deeper into the topic, but also we will look into additional items, like, for example, the topic of KYC. We have been asked to look into potential pan-European harmonization. We will, of course, also continue our work with regard to request to pay. And also, we look into all the different items brought up by the European Commission in their digital finance strategy.
Sure. So taking all of that into account, what do you think is going to be the major topic and sort of priority for the payments industry for 2021 then?
Well, Hannah, the topics will not disappear. Topics of 2020 will still be there in 21 and beyond. So the pressure of digitalization, the increased impact of technology in our business, and also cost pressure will still be there and not go away. But something we have seen also in our McKinsey study is that banks have several opportunities and alternatives to react to that. And one thing which we found very impressive and important is around talent management. To cope with all these future challenges, you need to have the right organizational setup, and you also need to have the right staff members to really run the bank. So I think this is something where banks really need to look into. Next, of course, to all these technological challenges, stronger digitalization challenges. For us as an association, I think we have to manage the framework around that. We need to look into pan-European standardization. We need to look into pan-European harmonization. We need to look into topics like collaboration or cooperation. I think it's very important. I think that's also the expectation of our members with regard to the association.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to getting in touch and catching up and looking at this area again further down the line, and looking forward to EBAday 2020 as well. But Thomas, thank you so much for calling in and sharing insights. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Hannah. Thanks for having me.